All right, we're going to start in game number 3 of Greg Orange versus Anthony Eason.
Yeah, so Greg is playing white-blue approach. Anthony Eason's playing Romanov red.
And we see sideboard tech here.
Yeah, this card is really good against Romanov red because a lot of the haste creatures, they come into play tap, so they can attack.
And you also get life.
It's true.
I like that part.
Oh.
And that's going to actually get censored. Karizev hits the bin.
Yeah, I think you want to basically cast censor on anything that you can get.
Yes. It also feels like you're getting away with something every time you do it. Pass a turn back for Greg. Greg plays almost exclusively control decks and constructed. He is quite talented at playing them, though. We've seen him have some results, even in fields where, you know, a lot of people were like, control's not great here.
Yeah, like he'll just play it any format, any time. And actually, this format actually happens to have quite a few different control decks, so he probably had his option of which ones he wanted to play.
Kind of interesting from Greg there. He used the Field of Ruin there to take down a Sunscorched Desert.
I think the reason he did that is he was trying to actually fix his mana. He only had 1 blue. He actually has, I think, a counter in his hand.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
And
now he's got too much mana, but
yeah, he had an irrigated farmland in his hand, but it came to play tap, and he really wanted to make sure that he could have counter up for the next turn.
And you can see why. That's that critical 4th mana. A lot of fireworks happened for the Ramanop red deck on turn 4.
It's interesting that he only chooses to attack with the 1 creature. I guess he's really
just super concerned about Settle the Wreckage?
Yeah, I guess so.
Doesn't want to get 1 for 1?
I mean, you can see why, because if you have a look at Anthony Eason's hand now, it's full of land.
Like this is his only threat going?
Right.
Oh, okay.
And, I mean, I think that's fair enough. I do wonder. I mean, it's only 2 creatures. I understand that it's a lot of damage you're giving up.
That is a lot.
Like, it would be 4 damage right now. So, granted, I mean, I don't know how much of a disaster it would be to actually get settled here, but I believe he only has one other spell in his hand. The rest is land.
Oh, that's going to be a beating. Greg drew a Slash of Talons there, though. He actually still hasn't hit that land. He cycled away the irrigated farmland and just has not hit a land since. This is actually one way that he could fall behind enough to lose.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But it is going to require Anthony to draw some gasoline off the top of his library and quickly.
So the extra land draws are not completely dead for Anthony Eason. He has Pionalo's fire-breathing ability on
which he's been using.
Yeah, so I kind of understand why he's going that way, and I think Bomakuri is a fine attack too because it generates more value and probably allows Anthony to, and he does have the Settle the Wreckage, so he's just trying to figure it out. It might be worth it this time because it's 2 creatures. They're both artifacts, so they're the cards that can get pumped by Pionalara. Pionalara,
yeah. Gregory says, okay, sure, you can resolve that Bomat Courier trigger. Is he going to fire off the Settle here, though?
I think he's going to wait for the pumps. Just to try and tie up Anthony Eason's mana.
And this, of course, is a critical part of Magic. Eason has to decide first. He has to say, I'm going to or I'm not. Right. And then Greg gets to have that knowledge. And it looks like Anthony's just going to pump once, but that is going to prompt Greg to go ahead and fire off Settle the Wreckage to get the 2 for 1 here.
So,
or 1.5 for 1, if you will.
Yep. So Anthony's going to search for 2 mountains. He's likely to play his Hazoret in his hand. He might as well play it this turn because the authority of the consuls basically means that haste is negated.
That's right. Greg needs to find some lands here, though.
Yes.
He's got the answers. He's got Cast Out.
The funny thing is he's got an opt that he hasn't had a chance to actually use.
He could just run it here and hope to hit an untapped land, but it's pretty risky business. Because if he misses, he won't have the opportunity to cast out in the case that Anthony gets his hand down to just one card.
That's quite a lot of discipline. I mean, he's at a reasonably high life, so that's okay. If he's forced to use a cast out, it's usually worth it. Greg went to the draft commons.
Found a nice little sideboard card here. This will give him the wiggle room to cast a counter spell if Anthony plays something like a Planeswalker.
I think it's
or
actually
to use Opt.
I think it's actually a pretty interesting sideboard card for Greg. His mana is often tied up really, really tightly. So, something like a Slash of Talons really gives him a chance to either trade up in mana or just be very efficient.
Another thing that happens is when people know that you have Settle, they'll do exactly what Anthony did, which is start attacking you with one smaller creature each turn.
Really, really good point.
All right, so the Opt did find a land. It is a Plains.
He wants to hit the 6th land. He's got a Gearhulk in his hand.
And the damage is going to start flowing now because Anthony is starting to chuck additional cards at Gregory's face here. You see, once again, Anthony respecting the possibility of another Settle.
I think, does he have 2 cards in hand?
Oh, does he?
Yeah. He has
two.
You're
right. But he could have easily played them.
He could have. But
why didn't he? I mean, I'm assuming he's respecting Settle, but maybe it's something else. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think that's the case. I think he was going to just use the burn ability.
There's a Censor. That does not look particularly good here.
It's funny. It's like
Censor and Settle the Wreckage.
Greg was going to cycle at main phase, but then he said, nope, I'm going to keep up all my counter magic. Okay.
Bowman Courier starting to get a little collection of letters going there, though.
Anthony has 8 land in play. Usually that's complete death for Remnant Red. Funny thing is, usually they'll have some deserts in play, but there's no Remnant Ruins, just mountains. Okay. Gets to the 6th land.
Yeah, he also found the Gearhulk.
It's not the best land he could have got it. Wandering River. Greg's still at a reasonably high 11 life, so probably doesn't need to worry too much about certain things except cards like Hazaret that can really catch him up. And the Authoritative Consuls just gives him a little bit of, insurance. I think he feels pretty comfortable having that. But Anthony's Bowman Courier is getting pretty big, has a lot of cards under it, so very soon he's just going to be able to refill his hand.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Gregory might force the issue here.
I wonder if he's going to do a Slash of Talons, because this is probably the first time I've ever seen this happen.
Definitely the first time I've ever seen this happen, and that's exactly what he's doing. Anthony can just respond and say, lightning strike your face, cash it in for 3. It seems reasonable.
Yeah, and it also
gets an additional damage, yeah. And maybe even more.
Yeah, it's possible if there's a little more. He hasn't blocked yet, so he can block the Soulscar Mage.
I thought he did block.
No, he slashed it.
You're right.
And
awesome. That's good value for Greg.
So
it's another couple of damage, and it,
blocks.
There's a lightning strike, which is going to make it a 2/3, and that is plenty enough small to get eaten up by the Soulscar Mage.
Yeah, Soulscar Mage having 2 prowess triggers from those 2 lightning strikes, making it 3/4. Karizev entering the battlefield a little tired.
No monkey. Well, Greg, though, is he really at 10?
I think so, because it's...
Anyway, he's got another Torrential Gearhulk.
He's definitely casting it. Oh. It's interesting. He's going to just take it.
Well, they're waiting to see. There's Ragavan.
Okay.
All right. And he's just going to settle.
Yeah.
And this is just devastating here for Anthony Eason, as there's nothing he can do but search up 3 more mountains out of his library, and that had to be the turning point in the game. Back-to-back torrential gear hooks. Anthony was able to kind of deftly work around the first one, and to pretty decent effect. He cashed in a courier. He got it killed.
Yeah, as soon as...
But now it's just like, come on. No board state at all for Eason.
I mean, as soon as Greg untaps, he's going to have 2 counters open. Okay.
By the way, Authority of the Consuls has looked real nice this game.
I mean, Greg gained 2 life there. Anthony lost essentially 5 life.
Oh, this is not good for Anthony. He just got attacked.
Wow.
Is there another one? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I think there's going to be some wreckage to settle after this turn. Well, I mean, he might not actually have another one.
I don't think he has another settle, but he definitely has another Gear Hulk. And it works really well, even against On-Crop Crasher. You just wait for, after attacks have been declared, to cast it, and then you get to block and eat it up. And he's only going to take 2, and on top of that, he can draw some cards or counters or whatever.
Anthony basically just resigned himself that if he has it, I can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, Anthony's just laughing.
Yeah, it's like there's so few sets of draws that gets him out of it. Greg takes 2 going to 11 and going to untap with multiple counter spells. Oh, Anthony drew something.
A rampaging Ferocidon. Looks like Gear Hulk food to me.
Yep, I think so. It's interesting if he's going to attack with 1 or 2.
Feels relatively safe to jam with both.
Yeah, I think he jams with both because he's got a cast out, so he can essentially cast out the Ferocidon, just take 2, and have a counter magic still up, and even if Anthony has a blocker, he has 2 5-power creatures.
Yep, Gregory Orange has this thing locked up. Book it for the Citrus Assassin.
Yep. There's a Scavenging Grounds come a little too late.
And Eason just says, yeah, if you have anything, I'm dead. And it turns out cast out is something. And that's going to do it. Gregory Orange picks up this one 2 games to 1. That's going to do it for round 8. We'll see you right after these messages.